How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the 4th episode of Subscriber Showdown, the show where I basically take your guys' cars, review them, tell you what I like about them, tell you what I don't like about them, tell you what I want to change about them and what I think you guys should do in the future on them. Apologies to everyone who hasn't had their car on the show yet. I'm going to try and get through everyone as I've said. If you want to enter your car into Subscriber Showdown, the instruction in the description down below, go check it out and just send your cars in. And if you do enter and you do win the poll at the end of the video, you will win one of these bad boys. You probably can't see it very well. Let me bring it close to the camera. Hopefully it focuses. It probably won't be because this camera doesn't like to focus. But yeah, these are basically in-car window stickers. They can stick out the back of your car. They look pretty cool. I've sent them off to the 3 winners so far. Congratulations to last episode's winner, which was Rob with his Mini. It was a very, very cool looking Mini. He very much deserved the victory and well done to him. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So let's start this list off with LAURENT'S 2011 Vauxhall Corsa SRI 1.4 litre. What's particularly interesting about this car is that when he bought the car, it was actually a Cat S, meaning for those of you that aren't in the UK, it's a car that had been crashed and then categorised by the insurers. So LAURENT'S saw a great opportunity to build the car himself, get it into a nice position and basically be in a good position to be sold off again. So here's a list of mods that he's done to the car. On the exterior, he's upgraded the headlights to some stunning Devil LEDs to give the car a more modern look. He's upgraded and dechromed the front grille to match the car's color wave. He upgraded the indicator side lights. He tinted them black and then made them LED yellow for a more modern look. He's upgraded the alloys to VXR black ones, which will apparently need a refurb as apparently he's been hitting 1 or 2 too many curbs as a new driver. Upgraded the side door mirrors, the wind deflectors, tinted rear glass windows, upgraded spoiler, upgraded the rear light system demonized as well, added some car vinyl stickers, and also on the interior he's got some much bigger mods. So he's upgraded and dechromed the air vents with a red color. Apparently they're just stickers, they can be pulled off, but it's pretty cool either way. He's upgraded the stereo as well to an expensive high-end touchscreen, which is also quite cool. It's got real-time ECU data coming to the car, as you can see from this little video right here. Got Bluetooth, GPS, dash cam, reversing camera, upgraded tire pressure monitors, interior LEDs front and rear, and upgraded sound system with Bose speakers. That is absolutely insane. He spent around about £1,000 over the year that he's been owning this car. In the future, he would like to upgrade the rear bumper to the VXR Nürburgring styling with diffuser, upgrade the front bumper to the VXR, and upgrade the seats to buckets as well. Now, my opinions on this car, I really like that exterior. It looks super clean. I think great idea putting on those VXR front and rear bumpers in the future as well. That will look quite nice. And let's take it to the interior as well. I love the style that you're going for with the black and red. I think it's super cool. Definitely the kind of thing people would like in their first cars. Love the fact that you've had a vision and you've gone for it. One thing I consider is debadging it, or at least painting those badges black. I'd get rid of the Corsa and the VXR logos, especially because it's an SRI anyway, and I would just paint the Vauxhall logo black on the front and rear. That would look really nice. You've already got most of the murdered out look going, so just finish it off with those and you're grand. Keep doing what you're doing. Congrats on building this car over the last year. It does look really good, especially while you've been going to college, etc. Thank you very much to LAURENT'S for entering. You can't tell me I don't give you variety on the channel, because the second car comes from Josh. It is his Morgan Plus 4 from 2016. He bought the car in 2017 with about 2,000 miles on the clock, and then has more than doubled it in the time of owning it because he just loves driving it and thinks it's one of the most fun cars in the world to drive. Now, in thinking up Subscriber Showdown, I didn't really know what kind of cars I was going to get in my inbox, but I definitely didn't expect a Morgan to turn up. The cars are renowned for being wooden when they're not actually wooden. They have some wood bits on them, but they're not actually wooden chassis, you know, all that kind of stuff. But a quintessentially and beautifully British brand of car, and Josh's one is another absolute stunner. Thus far, he's put a Librand sport exhaust system, which I'm probably brutalising the name of, so apologies for that. Williams overriders on the front and rear, and then Motolita wooden steering wheel, which I think looks really nice. Definitely fits the feel and look of the car. In the future, he wants to get an MSAR roll cage in there, Morgan Plus 8 rims, Suplex Sport coilovers, and remap it as well to increase the power. Now, as I said, this is a really cool car. Obviously, Morgan are renowned for making these cars in factory. You go down there, you pick up the car, and you drive it out of the front doors. It's a super cool experience, and I think modifying these cars is a bold thing to do, but also a very interesting and potentially very rewarding thing to do too. And by the way, before I get into modifications, love that number plate. Really cool. Well done there, Josh. Now, if I was going for a Morgan, there'd be 2 colours I'd choose. It would be black, like Josh's one, or British Racing Green, because, I mean, it's British. And green is definitely a great colour for cars. No bias. on that one. And I think I really like the look of your car how it is, but if I was going to make it look even prettier, I would probably try and make it look as vintage and classic as possible. I appreciate it's a 2016 car, but with that vintage style, I would probably try and continue to look towards making it look as classic as possible. This might be a really ridiculous suggestion, so feel free to ignore it, but I potentially name the car and then get the car's name as a sort of calligraphy or whatever metal badge and have that somewhere either on the dashboard or maybe just very small on the side of the car somewhere. It might look really tacky, it might look really rubbish, but in my head, what I'm envisioning right here is just like a really cool sort of way of claiming the car as your own almost. Definitely agree with the roll cage as well. I think that would look quite nice in there. And if money were no object, I can't really see it that well, but I think I'd potentially also change the interior color. Black exterior on black interior isn't as interesting as it could be. I think that could be a cooler color inside, so maybe get some burgundy interior going, or some tan, although tan and black's not that great. Maybe white, or not quite white, maybe a sort of off-white, creamish color. One of those colors would look really nice. I'm imagining like roof down, really nice, different colored interior, so that it gives that sort of more two-tone look to the car. I might be completely chatting nonsense here, but I just think that would look really nice. But yes, as an overall, I think you've got an excellent car there, clearly. I think what you've got going for you in terms of the roll cage and the alloys and obviously the remap for performance is all very good and well. And yeah, what a cool car to include on Subscriber Showdown. Did not expect that. So thank you very much to Josh for entering. The cars you people have been sending in have been absolutely nuts, and none more so than Ollie's father's 1982 C3 Corvette. Now 1982 was the last iteration of the C3 before they moved into the C4, and it was one of the first Corvettes ever to have fuel injection, although according to Ollie, him and his father have actually removed the fuel injection and gone back to standard carburettor because it's a bit safer basically, though it doesn't really help having a 5.7 litre engine in there. And Ollie makes a very fair point of putting 5.7 litre small block in inverted commas because 5.7 litres, fam. Ollie has the history of the car as well. Apparently it was first bought in North America before it was moved to the West Coast as a graduation present, before then finally being shipped over here to the UK where his dad bought it, and now him and his father have been working on it together. And so far they've done quite a lot to the car, including 6-pot Wilwood disc brakes on the front and 4 pots on the rear. It has been lowered on the springs but not with coilovers, as the rear has a wishbone suspension and therefore can't have coilovers and can't get much lower. I mentioned the switch to carburettors, upgraded fuel injectors, almost a straight piped exhaust with a Pro Bomb back box, and an upgraded gearbox, so in Ollie's word it is no longer a slush box. He mentioned also that despite it being a really old and American car, it actually handles really well, so that's great to hear, and he's had a load of fun working on it with his dad, so yeah, gotta love a father-son project. Every episode of this I feel less and less qualified to actually comment on what I think you should do next in your cars, and that's definitely the case with this Corvette. I have no idea what you should do, so I'll give you some ideas, but feel free to ignore them. One of those ideas is, I know that it's got the headlights kind of like my MX-5, the pop-up headlights. I'd love to see a set of halos on the front of those. So I think, I might be wrong, but I think it has 2 sets of 2 circular headlights. I think if all of those became angel eyes or halos, whatever you want to call them, that would look really, really nice and really update the look of the car as well. If you're going to do that, you might as well do demon eyes on the rear as well, just to make sure that it's one nice flush look. And also potentially look at getting those alloys super chrome-like, because I think that looks really good on an old classic muscle car. And one thing that is probably quite expensive, I haven't looked up the value of this, but I think does look really cool on the C3, is it's one of those cars where you could have side exit exhaust. I know you've done the exhaust already, but side exit exhaust, man, I'm telling you, the ones that go along the side of the door, that would look sick. I'm thinking chrome alloys, nice big chrome exhaust along the side with a little exit off just before the rear wheel. Beautiful. Obviously that is very much budget and not wanting to look like an idiot if that does look really bad permitting. Thank you very much to Ollie for entering. Very nice Corvette. Now onto a completely different type of car. It's Frankie's 1 litre EcoBoost 2013 Fiesta. He was left some money from his grandma, which I'm sorry to hear, but he used that money to basically buy this car and then has done a few modifications on it and made it look pretty cool between the age of 16 and 17. So that's really cool to be modifying your car at that kind of age. So far it's had a custom made exhaust from the downpipe back with a full cat delete and a custom back box with a 2.5 inch dual exit. It's got an AirTech induction kit, turbo smart dump valve and LED lights all around. And the car has some blue accents on the front as well as obviously on those alloys too. He hasn't told me what to do to the car in the future, which means that I have full access to basically tell him what he should do. But before I do that, let's talk about the actual car. That white with the blue trim reminds me of the black with the red trim from the Black Edition Fiesta S. There's actually one at the end of my road and they are quite nice looking cars, so I think that this kind of looks like it was almost inspired by that. I'm putting words into your mouth, Frankie, but that looks like it. And also I'm a big fan of cars with strangely coloured alloys, and I think blue is definitely one of those colours that you don't normally see alloys in, so very much fair play to you for going for that colour. And the fact that you've backed all of that up with the blue LEDs, I think that's also quite cool. Again, as I often say, it feels like you've had an idea and you've gone out to try and actually do it, rather than just doing a whole bunch of random little modifications and seeing where you end up. Things that I would do to the car though. Number one, you've got red calipers in there. I'm not quite sure that fits in with the white and blue vibe. Maybe consider going for a different colour on those. Maybe just silver would look good. Or otherwise go for white. I don't know if it would look good matching the body colour, it could do. Or the blue. I know blue behind blue alloys might not look as good, but I just feel like red is a little bit off in this situation. I like the LED interior lighting, I think that's a cool addition to the car, but I would also look at the rest of the interior too. So maybe because the car looks so fresh and sort of clean outside, try doing a clean interior. Maybe there's those diamond cut car mats. I know some people don't like them. I think they're quite cool, particularly ones that are actually real leather too. You could go for like just maybe a nice bit along the bottom of the car where the footwell is. That would look quite nice. Not in a brash colour or anything, maybe just in black, but I think that would look quite cool and it would make the LEDs shine a little bit more off of the floor. I'd also consider changing the steering wheel too, because you've got the standard Fiesta steering wheel on there from the looks of things. That could change to something a bit nicer, or maybe you could just retrim it with a nicer feel to the outside. Another point that I think is really key in any car like this would be to swap out those seats for some of the ST seats. And I mentioned I like that shape on the outside. There's a guy that I know who has a really nice Fiesta. I'll put a picture up on screen right now. It just looks really cool, so maybe take some inspiration from him as well. He's really good at making cars look stunning. But thank you very much, Frankie, for entering. All the best with the project and I hope it goes really well into the future. And the final car that I wanted to mention was sent in by Jacob. It is his 2008 VW Fox 1.2 litre. Again, different to the cars on this list to a certain extent, but also a very cool set of modifications have been done to this so far, so I thought I'd share it with you. Jacob's owned the car for 2 years now and he was going to buy a 993 instead, but this turned out to be a lot cheaper on insurance, about £600 cheaper for the exact same engine as a 993 Polo. It's got a K&N induction kit, a custom exhaust by Prestige Custom Exhaust, CSR eyelids, wind deflectors, smoked side lights, Stance Plus Ultra coilovers, BBS Montreals that are sprayed in satin black, Nankang NS20 tyres, Pioneer stereo and 240 watts front speakers, aluminium heater knobs, new handbrake and gear gated with red stitching, leather gear knob with red stitching, and red and black grenade valve caps. In the future he wants to upgrade the front brake pads and discs to EBC, and his other plan is to get a Polo 993 GTI donor car and then swap the engine and a few other bits into the Fox, since they're basically on the same chassis. We'd all like a nice 993 GTI donor car now, wouldn't we? If someone's got one, definitely hit me up because I need one for my Polo. Now the Fox is an interesting one. It's a car that I often overlook, but I really should give it a little bit more time considering I drive a Polo. I think what you've done in terms of the red theme is really cool. I understand the outside of the car is red, so doing the red stitching on the gear gator, the gear boot and the gear knob, definitely get that. That's really cool and I like it very much. To further develop that, if you do manage to get a GTI and you put the GTI seats in there, that will help because they have actually got red markings on them, so that will also match the exterior of the car. And another thing that you could do around that is to get the steering wheel retrimmed so that it has red stitching on it, and that would also match that theme as well. On the exterior of the car, again, I like a lot of the stuff that you've done here. The alloys do look really cool. Those classic VW designs are good, and the car does sit quite nicely lowered as it is on those Stance Pluses. I would certainly consider some angel eyes in the front. I'm considering it on my Polo 2 at this point in time, but it would look really good on that, especially with the eyelids that you've got on there. As I'm also planning on doing, I consider color coding that trim around the car as well. I really don't like the grim plastic trim they put around these old VWs. Get that color coded and it'll look really good. When it's on the Polo, it will definitely look good, so it would look great on your car too. Also, it feels like you've got black alloys with nothing to kind of match to, so maybe consider blacking out your badges. I know it's a very basic and boring thing to do, but it might actually complement those alloys, which is kind of does on my Polo. And then to finish all of that off, I think that you might be able to take the grille from the GTI and stick that onto the car. That would look really cool. Like a good mesh grille is always very nice and would not go amiss on that Fox. Thank you very much to Jacob for entering, really appreciate it, and your Fox is looking great. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to vote for your favorite car in the poll that should be up here on some side of the screen. As I said, the winner receives one of these stickers which they can either stick in the back of their car or on their actual windows or wherever they want to put them basically. As always, a massive thank you to the patrons for their additional support, really appreciate it. Remember to like, comment and subscribe for more weekly car content, but as always, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.